Alright, let's start by modeling this part. It's actually the only slightly complex section in the whole project. First, add a plane to the scene, then delete 2 vertices from one side so you're left with a single edge. Rotate it so it stands vertically. Now add a screw modifier and tweak the settings until it forms a clean cylinder shape. If you increase the screw value, you'll notice it starts looking like a folded sheet of paper. And that's exactly what we need here. Once you're happy with the shape, bump the segments up to 2 and apply the modifier. Now let's scale this down because it's way too tall for our model. Next, add a loop cut through the middle since we're going to extrude that part later. As you can see, we also need the top and bottom edges to be perfectly flat. So select the top edges, press E to extrude them upward, and without deselecting, scale along the Z-axis to 0. That'll flatten the edges instantly. Do the exact same thing for the bottom edge as well. Now if you take a closer look at your model, you'll notice the mesh isn't fully connected yet. On one side we have 2 vertices to work with, and on the other side we have none. So first, subdivide that edge 2 times to create 3 vertices. Move them closer to the nearby vertices, and remove the extra one if needed. After that, press A to select everything and use Merge by Distance. This usually cleans it up, but if some vertices don't merge, just snap them manually. They're probably not close enough for Blender to detect. Once that's done, repeat the exact same steps for the bottom edge as well. And from here, the rest is pretty straightforward. Just extrude the faces along their normals to add thickness, and then drop in a subdivision surface modifier to smooth everything out. Then just stretch or scale the mesh as needed so it matches the shape of the model. The rest of the parts are actually really simple. Just select the bottom edges and press E to extrude them. Then press S to scale that extrusion to the size you want. After that, press E again to extrude the edges downward and close off the bottom by filling the face. And finally, add a bevel to all the edges we just created to give them a bit of sharpness and definition. For the bottom part, just duplicate the bottom face and press E to extrude it downward. And for those sharper corners, simply add a bevel to tighten them up and give the shape more definition. For the roll-on sphere, just add an eco-sphere or UV sphere and smooth it out. If you want the bottle to have proper thickness, you can also add a solidify modifier. That's what I did here. The same thing goes for the cap. Just use a few edges, duplicate the shapes you need, and build it out. It's a simple piece, so I'm sure you can handle the rest on your own. Now let's export our UV layout for the label design. This helps you get a clear idea of how the label will wrap around the model. Jump into Edit mode and enable Live Unwrap. Then switch to the UV editor and turn on this option here. Now we can start marking our seams. The basic rule is simple. Only mark the edges that define the area where your label will go. That way, your UV layout stays clean and easy to work with. Now that all the seams are marked, let's resize the UVs properly and then export the layout. Now, let's speed up the label designing part and, while I speed up this label design part, I want to take a moment to introduce today's sponsor, Wingfox. Wingfox is one of the biggest online learning platforms for 3D and digital art. They offer high-quality courses on Blender, Unreal Engine, ZBrush, Maya, character art, environment design, product rendering, literally everything you need to level up your skills as an artist. They're also the international branch of Yihu, which you might already know is super popular in China for art training. So yeah, the quality is really good. And right now, they're running their Black Friday sale. You can get 40% off on their courses using my exclusive code BR40. This is honestly the best time to pick up a Blender or 3D modeling course because the early bird sale ends soon and the main Black Friday discounts are even bigger. I've added my affiliate link in the description along with the discount code. Definitely check it out if you want to learn more advanced techniques and speed up your 3D journey. Now, let's speed up the label designing part, and before we apply the label to the model, let's quickly set up a simple backdrop for the scene. Add a plane and scale it up so it covers your entire layout. Then extrude one side of the plane upward, and add a bevel to the corner to create a nice soft curve for the background. Next, let's add a camera to the scene. And for the lighting, I'm keeping it simple by using an HDRI. Go to the World Properties, click on the color slot, choose Environment Texture, and load in your HDRI. I'm using one called Empty Workshop, which you can easily find online. Now let's start applying the label to our model. Create a new material and name it whatever you want. Add an image texture node and load the UV label you created earlier. Then drop in a mix shader. Connect the image texture's color to it. And add one more principled BSDF to the lower socket. Now the upper principled BSDF controls the label area, and the lower one controls the rest of the bottle surface. From here, just adjust your UVs, scale them, stretch them, align them, until the label fits perfectly on the bottle. Now let's start working on the actual materials. We'll begin with the cap, and we'll use the same setup for the main body as well. Add any base color you want for your model. I'm going with a blue shade here. To give the surface a bit of roughness and texture, add a noise texture. If you hold Ctrl plus Shift and right-click on the noise texture, you can preview it directly on the surface. Then press Ctrl plus T while the noise texture is selected. Change the texture coordinate from generated to object. Trust me, this keeps the noise scale consistent and makes the material look much cleaner. Now just increase the scale of the noise texture to a reasonable amount until you get the surface detail you like. Next, add a bump node and connect the noise textures factor into the height input, and the bump's normal output into the material's normal. Then switch back to previewing the principled BSDF and adjust the values until the surface looks the way you want. Since the body uses the same material but we can't apply it directly because of the label setup, just copy all the nodes we created and paste them into the body's material. Then replace the second principled BSDF with the new one we just added. From here, tweak a few settings until it looks right to your eye. Small adjustments make a big difference. And next, we're going to build 3 different scenes to create some cool final renders. First, let's add a material to the inner roll-on ball. For this part, I'm using a bit of subsurface scattering without changing the color. It gives that soft, translucent look these roll-on spheres usually have. And that's pretty much all you need for this piece. You can use the subsurface settings in the principled BSDF, or switch to a dedicated subsurface scattering BSDF if you prefer. Both work fine. From this point on, I'm not going to break down every single step, because it's just basic scene setup and there's nothing complex here. I'll fast forward through this part so you can still get an idea of how I build my scenes, and you can easily recreate something similar on your own.